we are rolling.
Just like that Limp Bizkit song.
A modern podcast where Chris and Mike talk about TV, movies, superheroes, and everything in between. It's time for Superhero Slate.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name's Mike Royer.
And this week we discuss some new movies,
Mm-hmm.
possible upcoming TV shows,
Okay.
mutants,
Okay.
and more.
That Mutants was on the tail end there.
It really was. I typed it and then erased it somehow, and I'm like,
Oh,
I
no.
know I was talking about mutants.
No, it's all those damn cats you live with. Someone walked over the Control-Z.
Yeah, I know. Well, they're not allowed in the room I'm in right now, so
Oh, it's exclusive. It's a grown-up room.
yeah, not for cats.
You know what? I'd like to imagine, since we love cats so much, that there's cats out there that are smart enough and they have their own podcast, and I'm just more curious what cats would talk about on a podcast.
Probably, that's a good question. I would guess treats, moist food.
Uh-huh.
That's probably a popular topic.
I would assume catnip pops up a lot, but, they're probably pretty lucky because they don't have to run a legalized campaign for catnip. They probably just want to be able to buy it on their own. That's probably actually their biggest quarrel is that they just want rights. They want to be able to walk into a store and buy their catnip whenever they want and not be looked at weird. Yeah, I'm a cat. I don't have any money, but give me my catnip.
That's right. Like I said, we need some those polydactyl cats, the ones that have like the opposable looking thumbs because they have an extra appendage.
Oh no!
And like train them like velociraptors so they open doors.
Oh man, wouldn't that be hilarious? Like the only thing that's separating like most of the wildlife from just taking over society is just the thumb.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, well, let's make sure we keep thumbs away from cats.
Yeah.
Sometimes they can be kind of dicks. I don't want them having thumbs.
Yeah, or like things like beavers. If beavers had thumbs, this would be even worse.
If beavers had thumbs.
Yeah, they got that big tail. They could just open the door and smack you with it, and then next thing you know, we're subservient to beavers. Man,
so I know we've basically made our materials for this episode already, but if not, I would say we call this episode "If Beavers Had Thumbs."
How about next week?
Okay.
Next week, if beavers had thumbs.
Episode 39. Look out for it, everybody.
That's right. Well, man, we're almost to 40.
Oh man, this is exciting. These next two episodes are gonna be really cool because we got all these new TV shows coming back on, and we can talk about them.
Yeah, that's true. In the personal world, though, a year ago you were getting married today.
Oh yeah. See, this is how dedicated I am to our friendship and our podcast. It is my 1-year wedding anniversary. Yeah. I woke up early to record this podcast.
That's right. I have my pocket knife you gave me right here.
Oh.
In case those cats try to come in while I'm recording.
Cut their thumbs off.
Yeah.
Oh god. This got weird.
It got dark real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man. Anything else big in Mike's world this week?
Nothing too huge. The radio station I work for is throwing a pie contest today, and my wife is infatuated with baking, so she's entering a couple pies. So if you're listening out there, I guess you can't really wish her luck because by the time you guys are listening to this, I'm pretty sure the contest will be over.
Well, can we look forward to results next week?
Yes, I will let people know. If she does not win, I will let you know what pie did win indeed.
Now, my question is, did she bake them yesterday and present them today, or does she bake them today and present them today?
No, she baked them last night. So you bake them ahead of time, you show up, you give them to some judges, and then they critique.
Okay. See, I filmed a barbecue competition yesterday for one of my side jobs.
I don't know, it's just... you always have these weird side jobs, and I just wasn't expecting barbecue competition.
Yeah, it was at a firefighters, annual barbecue competition. So they had a firehouse, and I'm going around filming, but people are still trying to hand me their ribs to taste, and it was pretty awesome.
That sounds oh man, I need to get that gig, even though I don't really know how to work a camera.
Yeah, just point and click, really, point and click.
Man, you heard it from Chris, everybody.
Point and click. Don't. If anything, go to Quentin, our guest on several shows. he is the professional photographer.
Yes, that's true. We'll give him a shout out right now. So, I don't know if he takes pictures of food, but I'm sure he would not mind.
I'm sure food's easier because people
it doesn't move.
Yeah, people sometimes don't like to be in front of the camera. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Oh well, that's cool. I mean, good luck to your wife, and hopefully you get to try some pie as well.
Well, thank you, Chris.
That's all I got. I got nothing else.
Okay, well, I think we just roll right into the news.
Let's just roll right in. I'm ready for it. So, all Batman versus Superman, something we don't talk about very often.
Oh man, more Batman versus Superman. This is awesome. I mean, this movie comes out. It's just March. Wait, now I'm confused because I was under the impression that Civil War. No,
Civil War is May, the first weekend of May.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I got him flipped. I thought Civil War was first. All right, yeah, Batman versus Superman is technically the next superhero film after Deadpool.
Well, we got Deadpool, and then it's the second one of 2016. So we're pretty excited about that. But unlike Deadpool, this has been rated PG-13.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all expected that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't expect it to be an R, but I think it goes PG, PG-13, R. Mm-hmm. And I don't see it being PG because of the violence. Mm-hmm. And I think they said something about a sensual something, or not sensual, but something weird, romantic. It was something not hard, but it could be implied.
Ooh, maybe Wonder Woman's getting down with somebody.
Yeah.
I only say that because it's the only woman that we've really heard of being in the movie, and then it's just chock full of men. So it's just well, you only got you got a bunch of pegs, and I'm not even gonna finish.
Just wow.
I'm not gonna finish.
Wait for that porn parody film to come out next year as well.
Batman versus Superman versus Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Too many pegs. That's the subtitle. But anyway, the reason that they say this for the MPAA is some sensuality. That's why I was talking. Yeah,
that's such a weird. I bet the sensuality is between Batman and Superman. They get really close during those fight scenes, and sometimes they just connect.
That homoeroticism, and intense sequences of violence and action, like we talked about. So of course.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've always assigned to the theory that Batman is gay. So I think if there's anybody out there that can really go toe to toe, wink wink, with Bruce Wayne, God. I think it'd be Clark Kent.
Oh man, I don't want to watch this movie now. You've just ruined it, the whole thing.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But again, I'm kind of jelly the MPAA gets to see this movie.
Well, did you ever see that documentary on Netflix about the MPAA?
No, but I have done that was what I studied a lot in college was the the early years of the MPAA, but not the recent years.
Oh, it's an excellent documentary. The great part about it is it's one of the first documentaries I've ever seen where they actually are following a private detective. So you would think, a private detective, you would expect them to be following around crime or a cheating husband, but no, they hire a private detective to figure out who are the
MPAA
readers.
Yeah.
So that was really, really exciting to see how this private eye just basically went around Hollywood cafes and stuff to eavesdrop on these people to figure out who they are, and basically you end up finding out that these people have no real connection to friends and family and children and what middle America perceives anything. They're just people that get to watch movies and they get paid. But the whole MPAA touts that they're just really in tune with everything, and it gives you this whole new perspective that the rating system is just really crazy. But I wish they would revise it a little bit and expand it a little bit more, just because I feel like PG-13 it's way too all encompassing. I think 80% of the movies made out there fall into this category, and they range from all over the place.
Yeah, again, it all depends on who actually gives it the rating, because some things are okay in PG-13 that are, that film could also, if someone else watched it, could be a PG movie or an R. I think you get to say fuck once or up to 3 times, I think, now in a PG-13 movie.
Yeah,
it's changed so much, and it's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
But I know it's hard to classify any movie under G, PG, PG-13, and R. Yeah. And we're not even going to include NC-17 because I don't think those happen anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, either way, I mean, I was expecting this movie to be PG-13, but that just makes me more happy that Deadpool is rated R, because they know the position they're in. They know that they got that rated R rating. They're going to be the only superhero film out the entire year that can just basically not hold back. I mean, they're going to be able to do whatever they want, which is great.
So, oh well. Speaking of R movies, also done by Zack Snyder, Watchmen. All right.
Oh, that's a good segue.
It is. That actually worked out really well. They're in talks. HBO is in talks to create a TV series of Watchmen.
So this made me so excited. So I know there's a lot of people out there that have mixed feelings about the Watchmen film. I have some friends that read the graphic novel, and they said that surprisingly that they were not enraged necessarily by the ending, because I hear that that's the biggest change. Now I don't know if you read Watchmen, but I never got around to reading it.
I did. Once the movie was in production, I did read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's a series written in the 80s. It's you can't. I agree with your friends. Like, I'm not in your terms butthurt over the changes of the movie.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting, because when I kind of hear how the book ended and then I compare it to the way the movie ended, I'm like, wow, that's drastically different. That's going to make some people mad. But anyway, I mean, the film is pretty long, for like superhero wise. I think it's over 2 hours. And if you watch an extended cut, I think
it's 3.5 if you watch the full version.
Yeah, so I mean, it already has so much content in it. It could easily be broken down into hour-long episodes. And man, on HBO, that would be even better.
Well, see, so I'm the big fan. Like, we can't wash the Watchmen out of our minds and our history of comic book films. It is essentially a shot-for-shot recreation of the books, right? And that, as best as you can do. But the original series is 13 issues graphic novel.
13. That's perfect.
Exactly, that's perfect. Like, why did they not do this beforehand?
Yeah, well, and also I think one thing that would be really great is we had those releases of what was it called, Before Watchmen?
Recently the Before Watchmen series.
Yeah. I think, what was it, the original creator of the Watchmen was kind of sour that they were remaking it, or like bringing out prequels basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think Watchmen, Alan Moore is he's a grumpy old man anyway. So of course he's going to be butthurt over anything that he can't do his way.
Yeah. Well, I think it'd be great if they could somehow weave those prequels maybe into the original Watchmen story, kind of combine them. And then you get the best of both worlds. You're going to get the same fleshed out story that you got from the original book, but then maybe weave in flashbacks from these single issues. And honestly, I mean, Watchmen has been around for a while. We got a pretty great film, and my opinion is going to very wildly different from some other people that haven't, since I haven't read the book. But I mean, I'm okay with them kind of taking a little license, maybe writing some new stories for these characters. Obviously stay true to the characters, don't just like cast them weird or change their names or do anything bizarre. But I mean, I'd love to see more adventures from these guys.
Yeah, see, I agree with you. I think they cannot redo the film into this TV show. They have to make it different. Yeah. And using those Before Watchmen would be okay. I mean, some of them, I don't think they were received very well, honestly. But I mean, that's 37 issues of extra stuff beyond the 13 that we got with the original Watchmen, and we could definitely see some of that, like what made Ozymandias, who he was. So I agree with you. However, I think it's still a little soon to be redoing Watchmen. I mean, it's only been 6 years.
Man, I totally disagree. When I heard this announcement, I was just like, too soon never popped into my head. I think it's just because even though Watchmen, 6 years might seem long to others, might seem short, but since Watchmen, we've had so many superhero films and TV shows since then that I feel like it's so long in the past now. It kind of came out during like a different generation of this superhero entertainment proliferation. So,
well, see, I'm on the thing that I think they should take something else first that has not been created and go with that route rather than reaching into something that we already have something to hold on to. And I see maybe 10 years in 2019 coming back to this, and who knows, it may not be out until 2019.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what it'd be. If they're in talks now, I mean, if they don't even start filming until like the end of next year, we might not see the movie until 2018, you know?
Yeah, and I just think there are other things out there that HBO could pull in and use to their advantage. But I mean, either way, it's going to be exciting. It's probably going to be done really well. You know, let's see what they can do with Watchmen, right?
Yeah, I'll say two things real quick. I think it would be great specifically for HBO, just because you can go dark, and the movie was dark, and these heroes are dark, and they're dealing with very dark themes. So I think it's great for a network like that. I don't think it would necessarily work as well on something like AMC or NBC, anything like that. So Showtime possibly. So that's good. And two, I think a cool idea maybe is the first season go along those first 13 books, and then maybe at the season finale, maybe everyone doesn't die and they just get to go on and do different things. I think that would be cool, but I'm excited for this. This is super cool. I like the movie, and that's what I'm going off of.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. It's fine. Well, how about something we both can agree on? The Flash is a great show.
Oh man, that comes back just Tuesday.
Yeah, it does come back Tuesday. We have our first official image of Teddy Sears as Jay Garrick, an alternate Flash, on the show through his Instagram. And if you take a look there, that looks like a really old Flash, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like this costume is just simple enough to where we're going to see plenty of cosplayers for sure. Yeah. Because it basically just requires a bowl and a red leather jacket.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, if you got your Star-Lord costume, you can modify it into this pretty quickly.
So, can you tell maybe why this image might make me excited / make me grumpy? Steam my broccoli a little bit?
The lightning bolt's upside down?
No, that's not it. I'm mad because the CW again, like always, is blowing their whole load on something that was just teased in the season finale last year. I guess earlier in the year. We got this nice little snippet of his helmet coming out of that time stream in the season finale, and everyone was just like, oh, that's awesome. Is that an Easter egg? Is he actually going to show up? And this is so cool. And then CW's just like, nah, go ahead. Just tell him he's going to be in the episode. We're actually going to see him. Let's go ahead and announce the actor that's playing him. Let's just put it all out on the table. And it's just like, come on.
I'm going to go the other way because he's now he's a season regular. He's not an episode appearance.
Well, it would have been cooler to find out.
But it's hard. It's going to be really hard to keep someone who's in almost every episode a secret.
I know.
If it was a one-off, I'd agree with you. But since he's going to appear as like a mentor, like I can't get on that train.
Well, this still doesn't make the CW not guilty because they are really bad at doing this. I've avoided all the season premiere trailers and stuff. The CW just loves putting it all out there, so this is one thing I just couldn't avoid. Luckily, it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does. I think a different Flash, just older-looking retro Flash, who's technically on an Earth 2 Flash, looks pretty cool, and hopefully we get to see more Earth 2 characters as we go.
Yeah.
So how about something else that doesn't steam your broccoli? Star Wars.
Oh, Star Wars!
Star Wars! So the producer Kathleen Kennedy, who's taken over the Lucasfilm stuff since the buyout from Disney, says that the Skywalker family, continues through this new trilogy. Like, this is all about the Skywalker family in all the Star Wars trilogies.
That's awesome. There's nothing about these new Star Wars films that has been making me nervous, except what we talked about last week with Hayden Christensen possibly cropping his head back up in the films, but I'll leave that to the side for now. But I was a little worried that maybe we would be abandoning these older characters pretty quickly. Like, we obviously got to see Han and Chewie in the trailer, but I was just like, are they going to make it into the next two films? Are they just going to use these older characters to usher in the new ones? But I'm glad that it sounds like Skywalker is going to be really present in these new trilogy.
Yeah, this is one of those movies I'm trying to stay in the dark as much as I can. And I think we get one more trailer before it comes out in, technically, I guess, under 3 months.
Oh, so excited.
Yeah, so I mean, we've got a lot going on the rest of this year, and this is one of those things, like, other than the Bond movie, which I'm still kind of on the fence with, like, I don't have to see it. I won't cry if I don't. I would cry if I didn't see Star Wars. So
yeah, I mean, I'm starting to try to rationalize the time it's coming out, and like, you know, like how little kids like ask how long is it till something, and then they'll tell you like, oh, it's 4 episodes of Rugrats until you can do this. So I'm trying to manipulate my brain into getting more excited for Star Wars by saying like, okay, well, October's got a holiday in it. That's cool. It's got Halloween.
So does November.
Yeah, November's got a holiday in it. And like, man, just 2 holidays. Those are gonna practically take up the whole month. I mean, so and then bam, we're gonna go into Star Wars. Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so excited.
See, I'm more like I have Halo this month, Star Wars Battlefront next month, and then Star Wars. So
that's probably the more appropriate way to kill time than me just twiddling my thumbs until these holidays roll around.
Yeah, Halo kills a lot of time. Like, that we can guarantee.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work a little segment into the end of one of our episodes so you can tell me about your first impressions of Halo, because I'm not getting an Xbox One anytime soon, especially since I got a traffic ticket for making a left-hand turn 15 minutes before I was allowed to make a left-hand turn. So that's kind of taken $230 out of any sort of fund I would have for a next-gen console.
15 minutes? How does that work?
Oh, man. Okay, I'll go into this just a little bit. So, everyone
you should have opened with this. This should have been the opener.
So everyone knows traffic in LA is crazy. So just the way it happens, the time that I leave to go to the radio station in the morning, it's just a couple minutes before I'm allowed to make this left-hand turn. It's kind of a little shortcut I take to get around this really long traffic light, but like, trust me, it's totally worth it. I mean, it's actually like a shortcut. It saves me like 10 minutes of waiting for a light. And I turn there every morning, even though I'm not allowed to turn until a certain time. But I turn anyway because I've done it a dozen times before. And the second I turn, there's already an officer there waiting. He's been getting people there like all morning. And like, not only does he pull me over, he flags someone over that's right behind me too. So he gets 2 cars at once. And then a third car goes by. He gets on his radio and he steps out into the middle of the road. And while the car is driving away, he's like rattling off the license plate to like his partner that's probably around the corner. But man, there's like no way I could avoid it. Basically, all I do now is I leave like 10 minutes later when I'm allowed to make the left-hand turn, because I always get to work early anyway, so I have all this buffer time. But man, the ticket's expensive. I have to wait for it to show up in this like court system so I can even look up the price, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be like $230. Anyway, that's why I can't get an Xbox One anytime soon.
That is an expensive left-hand turn.
Yeah.
And now you know, kids, follow the traffic laws or you can't buy an Xbox One.
Yeah. You know what's this, the shittiest thing is that U-turns are totally legal. So most people just go up like a couple car lengths past the turn, make a U-turn, and just right-hand turn into the street. Oh, it made me so mad.
Well, now you know that's your thing there.
Yeah,
so
there's a life hack when it comes to traffic. Just make more U-turns if your state allows it.
This is true. So how about this? Let's talk about something a little happier.
Yeah, talk about something that makes me happy.
Netflix, Marvel and Netflix.
Oh man, Netflix and chill. Let's just Netflix and chill, man.
We do all the time. You know we do. You're like the 4th person to mention that to me this weekend. I'm tired of it because I really like Netflix. I like Netflix. I'm going to watch it. Like, fuck everybody else.
The joke has definitely run its course by now, but I'm getting in on the tail end before everybody's sick of it.
Okay, well, thank you. Kevin Feige did some talking this week. Even you sent me some of the stuff that he's been running his mouth all week in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, friend of the show, Quentin, sent me some stuff. I believe another person sent me some stuff. But basically, he's been rattling off a bunch of stuff.
Yes.
And it's been great. I mean, when Kevin Feige talks, you gotta listen, because he is like the architect of the Marvel Universe. So if he goes on record of anything, you know it's true. You know, you don't have to worry about like, oh, a writer may have said this or a producer may have said this.
He doesn't lie either.
Yeah, he knows everything that's gonna happen. So like, oh man, if you could read his mind, it'd be nothing but spoilers.
Yeah, so he confirmed this week that Daredevil and the other Netflix shows will be referenced in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Ooh,
it's an inevitability.
Good. Yeah, I believe I can't say this quote for quote, word for word, but someone asked him specifically, you know, for instance, if the Kingpin was going to be in a Spider-Man movie, would it be played by Vincent D'Onofrio? And he said something along the lines of, I like that idea. We haven't thrown that idea around yet, but yes, that's kind of something that we would go for.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, they would do continuity like that, except unless the actor did not or could not return.
Yeah.
The example would be the recasting of James Rhodes between Iron Man 1 and 2.
Yeah, but that's another thing that he brought up, too, about the difference between TV and movies, was he was talking about how the production schedules are totally different. You know, they can't really, they can't always get people on set when they need them to, though they said the TV sets have a lot more flexibility to just produce things and get them out, and a movie set is all crammed into a couple months, so...
Yeah, and it's, TV goes around the world. I mean, they're filming these Netflix shows in New York.
Yeah.
So they're all there. So that's great. They're going to be referencing other films. They've been referencing the larger Marvel universe, with the Stark Tower in the backgrounds, or Avengers Tower now, and kind of other things that go on. The Battle of New York was big in Daredevil.
Yeah.
And that kind of brings me to my next topic. Jessica Jones got a new international trailer this week. And I don't think that Marvel heroes, like the movies, can't go on without referencing Jessica Jones after this.
Yeah.
Because she has superpowers. And not many people on the street level, according to the Daredevil show, have the kind of superpowers she does. Where she looks like she could go, she's not a fighter, but she could probably knock Captain America back a few feet.
Yeah,
if
you know what?
Him.
I'm kind of curious how they're going to explain the origin of her powers. Now, I don't know what they are off the top of my head in the comic books, but I have a feeling she's not an Inhuman, so that's the only way they could really explain it in the Marvel Universe now.
Yeah, so... We'll talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. later in this Inhuman threat. That's a good idea. I'm thinking that's something to do with the Battle of New York. But, again, I think that's too soon. I think she's had her powers for a while, and I think it's going to be something different that we've not seen before.
Yeah, I mean, it could be interesting story-wise, just from a storytelling perspective, if we could have a hero that just has powers, and we just don't have to go through the trouble of explaining how she got them. Maybe she is just on some level, she just has them, she doesn't know how she got them, so if she doesn't know how she got them, why do we even really have to explain it to people? Because, that's one of the big things that Stanley always talks about. Back in the day, he got tired of trying to figure out ways to give people powers, so he just invented mutants. So they were just born with them. He didn't have to go through any sort of a crazy origin story. So, I'm kind of curious, how are the TV shows and the movies going to handle this in the future? Everyone can't just be Inhuman when they get powers, so we'll just have to see what happens.
Yeah, so just to give you a little bit of thing of the Jessica Jones in the comic books, got her powers from her family's car colliding with a military convoy carrying radioactive chemicals.
Okay, so that's kind of like the typical origin. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe she had a crossing with maybe some sort of version of the superhero soldier serum or something like that.
Well, I think it might be related to Daredevil. He had the radioactive stuff splash in his eyes. Maybe she had an adverse effect to it.
Yeah, I guess it could be something like that. But, Daredevil technically doesn't really have superpowers.
Right, but
per se, so...
But, what if it reacted to her in a different way and gave her strength? They're all in the same area. It's all connected.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's just kind of like a minor point. But I'm just interested to see how they'll explain that.
Yeah, totally on board. We know nothing. However, this international trailer, which was the point, this new one, it's like shows like it's like 8 p.m. and she's in a bar and there's a bunch of people just got the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
And she hits the jukebox and it's playing, I think, Bad Reputation, and she hits it and it moves, and then she walks across and you see all the people that she's like literally beaten to a bloody pulp.
Yeah,
and she goes to take a shot.
Yeah, yeah. We theorized that this week during Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. we'd be getting a full trailer, but I think we would have heard something by now. At very last moment they might announce something on Monday, but I feel like we're gonna get one more of these international trailers. That I think they've probably produced 3 of them, and then maybe next week we'll get the trailer.
What was interesting about this is this came out with Netflix's Japan account first. And they a couple hours later, released it through Jessica Jones' regular Twitter channels in English. So I think we might get maybe one more, if not 2 more, because they're not showing her face in any of these. And I think they need to get a full trailer, probably a month before it hits. I think Daredevil did a month before it hits, and show her face in some of these.
Yeah, because this is dropping. Is it first half or second half of November?
November 20th.
Yeah, that's right. Just before Thanksgiving.
So I mean, that's something else to hold you over till Star Wars.
And till my turkey.
Yeah, that's right. So we're gonna jump into something else. Marvel, a new TV show. They've ordered a pilot or a script for a show called Damage Control.
Oh, I'm excited for this, man.
ABC has ordered the script for this half-hour comedy series, not a full hour, and it's based on Marvel's group in the comic books that clean up after the superheroes.
Now, is this a standalone series? Did it run long? Because I've never heard of this before.
I'm pretty sure I'm not really sure if it ever was a series. It might have been for a small time. I think there are 4 limited series.
Oh, okay.
However, you mostly see them in the background of other things.
Yeah. Either way, this sounds just awesome. This sounds super hilarious.
So I agree with you. This is taking a different approach. We have no Marvel comedy shows, and we have no half-hour shows. And I think it could be something, that shows a different side of the Marvel universe that's funny and kind of like lighthearted, but isn't cartoony.
Yeah, I think it's the perfect time to make this show now, because everyone throws around the idea of superhero movie fatigue because we're so into it now. We're in the middle of we're in the middle of the second phase now. Wait, no, third phase.
Yeah,
we started our third phase.
We haven't we're in the weird point between 2 and 3.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, so we are in it. We are in it for sure. So I think it's finally time that they can produce something that kind of pokes fun at itself. It sounds like it's just going to be these people going to be ragging on Thor all the time. Like, why does he got to swing that hammer near this building? This, wainscoting is expensive. This is going to take all day to clear up. So I love that idea of just making fun of it. And then that's the kind of one of the great parts about this TV show is, sometimes it's kind of weird when they reference the other heroes in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Because you're not going to see them. I mean,
those feel really forced.
Yeah,
well.
they might say Iron Man, but Iron Man's not going to pop up in the show anytime soon. And if they do, they'll save him for the season finale, and they'll hype it all week and make such a big deal out of it. And he'll say 2 lines and fly away. But I feel like in this show, these type of references will be perfect. They can just drop Thor's name and Iron Man's name. They don't have to explain it. They don't have to do any of that stuff. And I love that. And I like the idea of maybe these characters are kind of like comic book shop guy conversations where they're just walking around and they just have arguments oh, do you think Thor could beat Hulk, while they're picking up a shovel and stuff like that. I think this sounds great and I'm super excited for it.
So there are 2 things I worry about this. One, they're not going to have, I don't know if they're going to have enough work unless they I don't know. There's just not enough work for them to do it.
You think there's not enough collateral damage is what you're saying?
Yeah, because I mean, again, they can go do the Battle of New York if they go international, Sokovia, but some of these things don't seem large enough, so I think there's going to be, they can focus on maybe some downtime and maybe introduce some smaller villains who just cause damage but are more not going to show up in the movies or TV shows.
So I'll speak to your 2 points. So your first point, I think they could make collateral damage pretty easy, just because if you remember at the beginning of Ultron, they were on that mission to find Loki's stick, and they had already gone through previous missions to try to find it, and they kept saying, "Oh, we finally found it. We're pretty sure it's here." So it sounds like the Avengers are regularly going on smaller missions, between movies.
Age of Ultron, yes, but I envision this being, not for another year or 2.
Oh. Well. Anyway, that brings me to your second point. Is I really like the idea of introducing villains to these characters. Maybe they're not so isolated from the damage actually happening. It'd be funny to bring in C, D list, F list villains from the Marvel universe that basically almost just a normally intelligent human being, maybe with just some sort of like shield tech, could just like take down and just be like a silly scenario, because like this it would just be so hilarious. They could like make fun of how stupid the villain is and then just like find a way to beat him, and it would just be so funny. I love that idea.
Well, they're not fighting they don't fight villains, so that's the one thing.
No, but it would make sense that they would come across them every once in a while,
right?
And then when
there should be definitely like a running joke. The only other thing I worry about, they don't, not worry, I just want to point out they have referenced damage control in one Marvel movie to date. In Iron Man 1, a TV ticker in the background of one of the buildings, or like at the end of the movie, shows that damage control are rebuilding the area and where the fight took place between Iron Man and Ironmonger.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, I do think there's smaller things, but I mean, if they can't rely on the movies and S.H.I.E.L.D. to get all their work. Yeah, so they're going to have to create their own work in the TV show as well.
Yeah, I think they could just easily blame it on like some Inhumans just doing some crazy stuff, or maybe just some fakers that are trying to be heroes just mucking stuff up. But I love this idea. I'm looking forward to see who's going to be running the show. I hope they have a pretty good pedigree and they come from something funny. Yeah. I mean, ABC is usually really, really good with comedy. The Muppets just aired on there. They have Modern Family. I haven't seen Blackish, but people say Blackish is really good. I think the only thing that might make me a little worried is ABC is
off the boat, because that's not funny.
I mean, it's a pretty GPG channel. They try to be really family friendly, so I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of edge to this. But,
I don't think damage control needs edge.
Yeah, I suppose, but I think that
it feels more like a Muppets show to me.
Yeah, it seems like the dirty jokes will be at a minimum. But either way, I'm still excited for it. It's a great idea.
Okay, so let's talk about Captain America. Feige was out talked Captain America. Civil War says it ends the Captain America trilogy. Much like Iron Man 3 ended the Iron Man trilogy. I guess this is more of a fact, but like I'm ready for Civil War.
I'll tell you.
But Captain America is probably one of the strongest heroes / characters that they currently have, and I would like to see another Captain America movie after this.
I'll tell you how excited I am for this movie. I legitimately had a dream about it last night. It was kind of a mean dream, because it was me and some other people in the dream had gone to see the movie, and apparently like the movie wasn't out yet, and we went into a showing of like some sort of documentary about the movie. So we're like, this is a really weird movie. They went with this really bizarre documentary style, but either way, it's starting to get into my brain, and I'm starting to have dreams about it. And when I start to have superhero dreams, that means I'm really excited.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that time to get ready for it, because Marvel. I mean, we have Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that's getting us through, and Agent Carter to the next movie. But I mean, I got my copy of Age of Ultron in the mail. Like it's ready for that next summer movie to be out, to start hyping that, because Age of Ultron, it's on my shelf, good to go. We can forget about it for a little while until the next one comes out.
You're just like the collector. Oh, it's on the shelf. It's good.
It's on the shelf. It is good. I have the Steelbook with the Vision. I think I sent you the picture of it, and got it from Best Buy, and it's really, really slick.
Yeah, but I can't wait till it comes out so we can talk about it more.
Yes, me too. Let's talk about Thor Ragnarok, the third Thor movie, which should also end the Thor trilogy.
Yeah.
Their director we hear there's a director that is in final talks to direct this movie. His name is Taika Waititi.
Oh, okay.
He has worked on Flight of the Conchords, the TV show, and the movie What We Do in the Shadows, which starred Jermaine Clements of Flight of the Conchords. It's about vampires, a comedy.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think this might turn some people off, because you're thinking, okay, this is a kind of a, I don't want to say obscure, but like a niche British comedy director tackling Thor. But with Marvel's pedigree, they make good decisions when it comes to directors, so I'm not too worried.
So let's I look at this from the other Thor films aspect. We have Thor 1 was directed by Kenneth Branagh, who's known for doing the Shakespearean movies, right? And then the second one's Alan Taylor, who's known for Game of Thrones. Well, those, I mean, are good, but they're not great. All right, they need something to take Thor in a new direction, right? Because following that path just says if they got someone else who's done that kind of thing, it's not going to work out as well as they want it to. Going into the director of Waititi here, I love that name, by the way, like saying that, saying it's fun, is going in that different direction. It's the same way James Gunn took Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody thought James Gunn could do a Guardians film.
That is true.
Everyone thought, again, back to Iron Man 1, Jon Favreau, he had Elf under his belt before he did Iron Man. Like, I wouldn't say the guy who did Elf can do a great Iron Man film. Well, no, I would never have said that.
Yeah. And speaking to What We Do in the Shadows, it's a film that I have not seen yet, but it's one on my watch list. I really want to see it. It looks hilarious. I've heard nothing but good things. So I mean, they're good films. I mean, Flight of the Conchords is hilarious. So.
Right, and like, it's Australian, and I think they're going to film in Australia anyway. So it's kind of New Zealand, like Australia. So I feel it lends credit to that that rumor. So I'm ready for Thor Ragnarok. I know we have to wait until after Spider-Man even, but I'm ready for it. I'm also ready for Doctor Strange next year.
Oh, man, we got Doctor Strange news?
We got Doctor Strange. Kevin Feige. Again, talks all week, man. Confirmed that this is an origin story, putting to rest rumors that Marvel will never do an origin story again.
Yeah, I think this kind of makes sense to do an origin story with Doctor Strange, because no one really knows who Doctor Strange is if you're like a casual watcher of the films. If you don't pick up comic books, I mean, you don't know who he is. I mean, you know who Benedict Cumberbatch is, but you don't know who Doctor Strange is. Right,
and with a name like Doctor Strange, it kind of could put some people off, even though his name is Stephen Strange. Not that, and what he does is very strange. Like, it's double entendre there. But an origin story for Doctor Strange is perfect, because you need to see the fall and rise of that arrogant surgeon.
Yeah.
Have you watched the animated movie yet? The Doctor
Strange?
I love that film.
Yeah, I was about to bring it up. I mean, it is paced and put together just like an origin film. So, like, if you want an idea of what this movie is going to look like, just go watch it. I don't know if it's on Netflix still anymore.
It is not. They took most of the animated films off.
Yeah, but go find yourself a copy. I mean, I don't think it's going to be shot for shot or anything like that, but I think they're really going to follow along the lines of what's going on in there thematically.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I mean, I didn't expect to like that film as much as I did the animated movie. And it really blew me away. And I think that was when I had a turning point towards Doctor Strange and the character.
Yeah.
Which could very well, I think this also would tie in very well to Iron Fist that they're still working on. Because I think it's the same way. But either way, Doctor Strange, a year from next month. I mean, we got 13 months, a little far away, but I can't wait any longer. I need it. I need it now.
It's going to be great.
I need to see footage, honestly. Like, I cannot wait for the trailers on that one to come out.
Oh, yeah.
So, what about New Mutants? We've talked about this once before when the script was kind of done.
Yeah. Well, we got some more news, man.
Yeah, the writer, Josh Boone, says his first draft is complete.
Good job, Boone. Good job, Boone.
So that kind of, I mean, the fact that they're still working on this draft, I feel that Fox could be moving forward with a New Mutants film to fit in the 2017 range that they really don't have a lot of movies panned out for. I think Fox wants to up their movie output, and getting 2016 with Deadpool, X-Men Apocalypse, and Gambit. Well, they can't really make a sequel in time for the next year. They usually do a 2-year wait, but I think New Mutants would be a great filler film to put in an off year.
Yeah, I would love to see. Maybe if they could put Cable in there. I'd love to see Cable.
Cable would be a great introduction in there, especially after Apocalypse kind of changes the landscape for mutants. So I'm ready for it. I mean, the guy wrote The Fault in Our Stars, but I mean the novelization, not the book. But I mean, I'm ready. I want to see what he does. I want to see New Mutants. Fox, do what we say and greenlight it. Go ahead, get it done.
Do it
now,
bro.
Do it now, bro. Okay, Deadpool. Do you like Deadpool?
Oh, man. Deadpool's pretty sweet, yo.
Ryan Reynolds stole a suit from the set of Deadpool.
Aww.
He wanted to keep it.
He deserves it.
Yeah, he's been working on it pretty hard, and honestly, it's not like he doesn't have the money for it. But
yeah, I imagine he's going to use it and do the real righteous thing, and he's probably going to visit, like, children's hospitals and stuff. Even though, now that I think about it, those children should not be watching that movie.
Right, and they should not be reading those books either. But I mean, it could be fun. I mean, if not, at least he could show up and do some like of his own like advertising, like he did with the guy from Saved by the Bell.
Oh yeah. What's his name? Lopez.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. I don't know.
Not Mario Lopez, is it?
Yeah, it's Mario Lopez.
Oh, Mario Lopez. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think seeing him running around like on like late night shows in a costume would be pretty funny.
Yeah, I'm okay with all that.
Yeah,
It must be pretty comfortable then.
Yeah, he really likes it. I really like it. I think it's a great book to movie translation. So
Yeah, well,
he deserves one.
We can definitely say the Deadpool costumes at the Comic Cons, the conventions, will not be dwindling. They'll only be getting larger.
And one of them could be Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, see, he has the perfect way to hide.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta watch out for those. You never know who they're gonna be. So Gambit, another movie coming out next year. We talked about this last week.
So, do we have good news? Because we've only had bad news with Gambit so far.
Just news. After Channing Tatum was on the fence about it, like down to the wire, and Rupert White has now left since they pushed production back to January. Another rumor is that he's actually left because he didn't want to compromise his film vision.
So it kind of sounds like an Edgar Wright Ant-Man situation.
Yeah, kinda. Except Edgar Wright had did his first draft in 2005. Kind of deal. So he had time, but like Rupert White's only been on it for like maybe 2 months. But the reason Rupert White is known for doing this, though, he has done it in a couple other films, like the first Planet of the Apes. He didn't direct because he didn't want to compromise his vision on that.
Okay.
But he came back and did the second one, but like he wasn't gonna do that. He also did it on, I think, the movie Londongrad and The Equalizer. I've not seen either of those.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's starting to earn a reputation for dropping out of projects because he did the same with Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Londongrad, and Equalizer. So
yeah.
And now Gambit.
Well, maybe we don't need him then.
I don't know. I still don't think we need a Gambit movie, but that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, I think that'll be a fun spoiler cast whenever we get around to that movie.
Oh man, will it ever? We gotta have decks of cards with us while we do it too, just for effect. You think they're gonna sell Gambit like merchandise, like cards, Gambit cards, and
oh man, that would be the most boring swag ever. I would just imagine seeing Gambit cards like at a truck stop. I just can't see anybody wanting to buy them.
Yeah, like the truck stop like discount bins. Man, oh well. You like Game of Thrones?
Yeah, man, Game of Thrones is awesome.
All right, well, HBO is making a movie after the series ends.
Whoa. Man, okay. I mean,
it's not a movie to recap this. Like, it's not a redo. It's like, I think just like once they're out of TV shows to make, there will be like an ending movie.
Yeah, I mean, they've been known for doing this. Most recently they did it with the Entourage show, but they made that movie years after the series ended. So I'm kind of curious what they'll do with it.
You think? Game of Thrones, the books, the movie, the show is now ahead of the books as of next season.
It's just.
Do you think it'll be like a way to tie a bow over the entire series?
Yeah, I don't know. It's so weird talking about Game of Thrones, just because for the longest time I try to keep my opinions to Game of Thrones very quiet, just because I don't want to invite spoilers into the conversation because I don't read the books like a lot of people out there. I mean that just goes to show you. I mean the show is so popular that HBO goes, we can make a movie out of this and we can throw some decent money at it and people will go see it because it's Game of Thrones.
Do you think it'll be now? Here's my question: do you think it will be a theater movie or a made for HBO movie?
Whatever it ends up being, two things need to happen. First thing is it needs to have a decent budget. There's some really choice, really excellent action set pieces in Game of Thrones that they typically save for towards the end of the season. They kind of blow all their season budget on it, and it looks great. There's this awesome battle at the wall. I think it was 2 seasons ago. That was amazing. And it looks great for even just a TV budget. And even though Game of Thrones has a very large TV budget, it's still just a TV budget. So I think if they could give it just some real good money and they could just make a visual spectacular thing on the scale of Lord of the Rings for the film, that would be amazing. So I don't really care if it comes out just on HBO or in the movies. Just give us some good money. And number 2, I think the timing of it needs to be perfect. I don't want like the series finale to end and then I have to wait a couple months or even a year to go see the movie. I want it to be timed where the series ends and I can go see the movie in like 2 weeks. Or, I don't want to have to wait want to wait a year. I don't want Game of Thrones. I don't want to fall out of love of Game of Thrones, because it takes me 1 or 2 episodes to get back into each new season when the season ends. Because since it's only 10 episodes, you go through the season pretty quickly, and then you have to wait like 10 and a half months until you get more of it. So that's what I'm saying. Give it some good money and time it well, and I have no problem with it.
So my prediction, and this is where I'm going to put my money on right now, is that this is a prequel movie, because the series will end the series completely, and this will be a prequel movie. Kind of talking about like how did the White Walkers and the Wall and all that old history stuff appear, and it will be a made for HBO movie and will not hit the theaters, and that's my guess. That's right. Where I'm putting my money, because we've heard rumors of an HBO making a prequel movie. Yeah, and they could do that at any time, maybe even in between the next to last and last season, or even afterwards, and just be like, here's a box set including the prequel. I mean, they did it with The Hobbit. I'm going to be honest, like that should have been one movie, and it should have just been like, here's 4 movies for the Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And I feel like they're taking a Lord of the Rings approach to that as well. Like they're going to do a prequel movie and see kind of how that feels, because then they won't have to get their bigger names back. They won't have to get like Kit Harington or what's her face, Maisie Williams back. They can get new actors and have a lower actor budget to put more money into the effects.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you want.
Well, either way, we have 2 theories now, and I think they're both pretty good. I'd like to hear what anybody else thinks. Yeah, obviously, if there's no spoilers. I mean, I know it's a little harder to spoil the show now because the show has caught up to the books, but I'm positive there's something out there that someone could ruin for me. So please be nice and kind, and just don't talk about the books.
Dumbledore dies.
Oh, no! Oh.
Anyway, let's talk about something else that makes people die. Transformers.
Okay. Yes.
Hasbro has confirmed Transformers movies 5, 6, 7, and 8 are on the way in the next 10 years.
Oh my god. You said Hasbro confirmed it?
Yes. So Hasbro owns the Transformers franchise. And we talked about this writing room they had. And before they disbanded it recently, they planned out the next 10 years of Transformers movies and TV and what have you. And they planned out 4 more movies in the next 5 years.
Well, let's put it this way. Hasbro is a toy company. They don't give a shit about the quality of the movie. They just want to sell tickets to kids, and then they want to sell toys. So of course they've probably planned out 15 films. They don't really care. So
well, they brought in a writing room that even had Robert Kirkman of The Walking Dead fame in, and a bunch of other famous people. So they kind of had them tell them what they need to do to not completely put out 15 movies in 10 years. Yeah. So I trust that a little more. However, if Michael Bay comes back, I mean, 4 was so horrible. I get like acid reflux thinking about it. Is how bad that movie was. Like a kick in the nuts.
Well, one thing that is kind of great about the Transformers franchise right now is I don't think anybody's really too precious to it. I mean, the robots, are pretty. They're pretty placeholders. I think the only thing people really care about is Optimus, Bumblebee, and Megatron. Basically, everybody else out there, can easily die or rip to shreds. And then we've replaced the main actors plenty of times, so that doesn't really matter. So it seems like, they could literally just bring in anybody and say, do whatever you want. Doesn't matter. You don't have to bring back any of the original cast. You don't have to bring back anybody. Just make your own type of film and just go crazy with it. I mean, they got nothing to lose. You just got to make sure you film some scenes in China, and we'll recoup our money in the foreign market.
Right, and that's something you bring up a good point. No one's precious. I've not heard anyone say good thing about Transformers movies in years.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, the first one was good. And I'm like, yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, the first one was good.
So hopefully they're on like a Fast and Furious kick where they're like, we get the 5th movie coming out. It'll be good again because nobody cares. We're going to do what we want because nobody cares.
That's a great comparison, man. Transformers to Fast and the Furious. I mean, they almost line up perfectly with the type of audience that they attract.
Yeah, not us.
Yeah.
I got bad news for you, though.
Oh, what?
Pacific Rim 2 has been removed from the film schedule, but has not been canceled.
It's just one of those projects that we always hear that Guillermo wants to do. It's always
I've never heard him really commit to anything except like things I don't want to see now.
Now I feel like Pacific Rim is on the shelf next to Hellboy 3.
I think Hellboy 3 will get like a Kickstarter thing and like get enough money and actually come off the shelf before we see Pacific Rim 2.
Man, Man, it's just all stupid studio funding. Man.
The thing about Pacific Rim is the first one barely made any money. I'm really surprised they kind of greenlit a second one.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the
much as I want to
things.
see it.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those. It wasn't quite as bad performing as Edge of Tomorrow, I believe, because it's kind of one of those films where it is really great, just people aren't going to go see it. But man, Pacific Rim 2 would be awesome. I'd love to see it in like a giant IMAX screen in 3D. I mean, that's the movie where you shell out for all the bells and whistles.
You're not wrong. That is, if you missed it in theaters, like you missed out on a great ride.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Mike.
I want more. I guess I'm not holding on to my wallet. I can put that away. I don't need to buy the ticket anytime soon, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, maybe next year. Maybe next year.
Sad.
Well, Ghostbusters. We hear a lot about Ghostbusters lately, even though I could give two fucks about Ghostbusters.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We're not really precious with the Ghostbusters franchise.
No, they're creating an animated movie now. As all the other fucking movies they want to create.
Yeah. But I mean, I vaguely remember the animated TV show. I'm pretty sure it got me to buy some toys.
Yeah, it was like the new Ghostbusters or something like that. A real Ghostbusters is what it was, and it didn't have the characters from the films. And it fit in that '90s cartoon show. It had like 2 seasons of things that were enjoyable. Kept Ecto Cooler on the shelves.
Oh man, Ecto Cooler. We talked about this before.
That's the only good thing to come out of Ghostbusters, according to Mike.
Re-release the Ecto Cooler, man.
That's right. But the animated movie in the works, I mean, I think we're going to be, if all these come to fruition, who the fuck's calling for these things? Not me. I don't know anybody. No one in my direct circle says I need Ghostbusters. And why do they need to create a female version, a male version, and then an animated version?
I think what the real thing is here, it's just the animated movie. We've been talking about this a lot. We talked about it with Spider-Man, that these studios want to make these standalone animated movies, but we haven't heard any more info yet. We haven't heard anyone step up to the plate and really announce any sort of voice acting, and that's why it really makes me think these are just not going to happen. I mean, if it's going to be animated, and they're going to put it in a theater, that's a big deal. I mean, that's almost like a new wave of type of film. We've had animated films before, but they've been stuck into pretty much original ideas. I mean, they might be sequels of original ideas, but they're still original stuff. I mean, we've had Big Hero 6, but that's not really attached to a live-action franchise at all. So it's just like, if we're going to get a Spider-Man animated film and a Ghostbusters animated film, I'm not going to start really believing it until I actually see some concrete news.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is things like they may be talking about and maybe not come to fruition at all. But animated things seem to come and go. Again, I'm going to reference Marvel. DC does great animated things. They put a lot of money into their animated movies because they don't have live action movies coming out very often. But Marvel has done some really, really peculiar animated things. Such as this thing called Heroes United series, where there's Iron Man and Hulk, and then an Iron Man and Captain America. And Iron Man and Captain America was only digital. They didn't even release a physical version of it. And I watched it because it was on Netflix. It's still on Netflix. Don't fucking watch it. It's crappy CG animation, and they didn't really put a lot of thought into it. I think they were just kind of milking it for what they could, and I feel like that's kind of what these animated things are going to end up unless they start really, really giving us something good to do. I think it's all about the DC animated universe, really drawing out people who want to put franchises and tell other stories in animated forms that aren't tied to a larger picture.
Yeah.
So I don't care about animated. Sorry. Oh well. So Assassin's Creed movie. Cast Jeremy Irons and Brendan Gleeson.
Cool.
Do you know who they are?
No.
Okay, so Jeremy Irons
sound familiar.
Jeremy Irons is Alfred in the upcoming Batman vs Superman.
Okay, yeah, that's why it sounded familiar.
Okay, Brendan Gleeson is in the Harry Potter films. He has the goofy eye.
Okay.
And his son is General Hux in the upcoming Star Wars films. Okay, so we got that out of the way. That's really about it. We don't have anything else for that. Let's talk Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. real quick. I know you got to get to this pie thing. Let's get Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. out the door, and then we'll do our plugs and call it a day. But did you watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 premiere?
Yeah, it was great. I was surprised. Season 3 started off strong. Just like I kept saying, I was excited for the next season because, I felt like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finally got their shit together, and I felt like it was a strong premiere. How did you feel?
I feel the same way. Honestly, I didn't expect them to drop so many bombs on us in the first episode.
Yeah.
Normally, TV shows are known for kind of like holding their cards close to their chest and be like, well, we have like this villain Lash who's going to show up eventually. Or we might tease him at the end of the episode as like, ooh, the villain behind the curtain. But they gave us to him. Like they gave him to us right away. It's good to see, kind of like the Inhumans. Like it is following the comic book approach. There are going to be a lot of them appearing out of nowhere. And they can't really control it because it's in the water. And in the comic books, it was in the air. It's a cloud taking over the Earth. And this one's just in the water. That's great. It's uncontrollable. You don't know what's going to happen. And we don't know what to do. A couple Easter eggs was nice. Was the president from Iron Man 3 returned in this episode.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I forgot about that.
It was like a 3-minute speech too. Like he did a big thing, and that was great to have him back, to have that continuity. That what didn't feel forced is like saying like, oh, and what about that Pym situation where things went shrinky, and everybody went to Shrinky World, and that kind of felt forced. But like the president did not. But the last thing I want to talk about, and this is maybe a little spoilery for people, the very end of the episode showed what happened to Agent Simmons.
Yeah, she's on some sort of, I don't know if it's like a planet or another dimension, but it's very mysterious.
So it's apparently across the galaxy, according to some of the upcoming like previews, like the descriptions. However, I feel that's an area called the blue side of the moon, because in the sky it looks like the Earth and the moon are actually visible from her point of view.
Oh.
And what happens, the blue side of the moon is actually where the Inhuman Royal City is. Attilan was in the comic books in the early days.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she looks like she's being hunted by something, some sort of creatures. And she has to rub mud on her face to hide cuts. So we know she's alive. We know that she may be inhuman since it reacts to Inhumans only. I'm ready for this season to kick off. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm looking forward to the next episode this coming week.
Yeah, we probably won't do any more reviews probably till the halfway season point. But if anything comes up here that we want to talk about, we'll bring it up. But if you guys have anything you want to ask us, send it our way.
Yeah, if they wanted to send you something your way, Chris, where could they send it?
Do it on Twitter, man. Tweet me at Valdan, VALDAN on Twitter. Also, check out Comic UI. We normally do like a Secrets of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of thing there, but we're in the middle, again, of revamping the site. We've got our test site built, and we're ready. We're getting ready to kick off. We're really excited for it for this month. But what you ought to do is just tweet at me, and if I can't answer you, how about you, Mike? Where can they ask you these questions?
Well, they can follow me at Mike Royer Design on Twitter and Instagram, and as always, you can read my webcomics at picklecomics.com. But, if you don't want to do that, which you should, you can always go to superheroslate.com. That's where you can find the links to every place we put the show. We're on iTunes, YouTube, SoundCloud, Tumblr. You can like us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. If you're a fan of the show, we'd love you to go on iTunes and review the show. And if you're a super fan, you can do that and share the show with a friend. I think that's super awesome. I want to spread the love. I want people to listen, and I love you guys.
Yeah, we had National Podcast Day last week, and we got 1 like out of it on our Facebook page. I felt pretty good about that. And, again, YouTube is becoming a big thing for us. I think you guys, if you want to talk to us on YouTube or ask us anything, feel free to go to YouTube and check out our videos. I think they're really, really exciting on there to see them. I like to watch them on my Xbox One that Mike can't buy because he took a left turn.
Oh man, that's a good way to bring the show to a sad end for me.
Yeah. So you get out of here. You go eat your pie and think about what you did wrong in the world this week.
All right, I'll do that. Have a good week, man.
See you guys.
All right, bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.